went on Facebook and I wrote my own eulogy on Facebook. It was hard. It was hard. It was a hard movie. It was. My name is Kimani Mbugua. I grew up in 2 different places. I was born in Thika. That's my birthplace. My birth certificate shows I was born in Thika. I know there's a lot of my folks in Murang'a who don't like the fact that I mentioned I was born in Thika, but that's what my birth certificate says. But I grew up a lot for a long time in Murang'a. I went to Njiri School. Njiri School is in Murang'a. It's somewhere in a very cold place near Aberdare called Kakari in Murang'a. So went to Njiri School between Form 1 and Form 3. But in Form 3, we had a lot of disagreements with the principal based on the fact that I was Adventist then, and he had refused for Adventist kids to be going to church on Saturday. So our church was banned. So we were like, I felt very uncomfortable. I felt I wasn't going to be able to be very comfortable because religion was a huge thing for me. I grew up in a very Adventist family, so I found it hard to concentrate with an unstable mind. Yeah. So at Form 3, I decided to go to an purely Adventist school so I could have peace studying. And my parents kind of disagreed with me, and we had, it was kind of a rough transition because it was the last year of high school. And I wanted to go to a school where I wanted to think independently. That's what I've always desired, to think independently and be my own person. That listen to my parents and listen to people around me, but choose who I want to be. The transition between going from high school to uni was very difficult because at that time my family was going through a very, very difficult time. My dad was, he couldn't be able to fend for us anymore. And so my mom became the sole breadwinner of the family, and I remember, like, I was going through this with my therapist, and I realized, like, looking back, I was in such a bad, depressed state. It was unbelievable. My parents wanted me to become a lawyer or a doctor. Those 2 were the options. I didn't want to become any of those things because I knew I realized I wanted to be a journalist when I was 16. Like, growing up as a kid, I didn't know who I wanted to be, by the way. A lot of people have the privilege, like, I knew I wanted to be a singer, I knew I wanted to be a this or that. I didn't. I had no idea what I wanted to be until I was in that transition between Form 4 and, like, going to uni. And at that time, I had discovered it before our results came out. And at that particular time, I felt so disappointed by life. It didn't also help that at that time, we had a lot of financial problems because my dad wasn't able to provide for us anymore. There wasn't enough school fees for me to go to uni. And I felt so disappointed by that. I was like, life wasn't supposed to be this way. In second year, it was so bad. It was so bad. The first semester, it was so bad. I remember sitting. I wanted to take my own life in 3 ways. There were 3 options. I used to live in a hostel B in Moi Uni. Those who've been there, Moi has a huge farm, and like Hostel B is very close to the place where there's a field, and then when you go down, there's a huge waterfall. And I thought to myself, one of these days, I'm gonna walk down there because I don't feel like this life thing is working for me anymore. I wasn't going to classes. I wasn't studying even. I felt, what's the point? To what end is this gonna? I mean, I don't have even enough money to go through school. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna make it. I sat down and I saw my journey in school. Like, there is no way I'm gonna successfully make it out of university alive. I remember I stayed in my room for 3 days. I did not eat or drink anything. I wanted to starve myself to death. It was so bad what I was going through. I went on my Facebook, I went on my computer, wrote a whole spoken word album it was about my troubled state of mind. And I wanted to, and it was like a beginning of an end. I went on Facebook and I wrote my own eulogy on Facebook. It was hard. It was hard. It was a hard movie. I couldn't see a way out. You see, people see people commit suicide and the first thing they're like, how dare you? What people fail to understand is the torture. And the torture happens in your mind. My cousin saved my life because he came to my hostel and he was checking up on me because I hadn't showed up in class. Nobody had seen me for a very long time, and he came to my hostel, and he told me, "Yo, let's go out and I'll get you stuff. Let's just go out. Let's just take a walk." I felt so relieved. I felt like someone cares about me. I didn't tell him what I was thinking about, and I was so ashamed of even ever thinking about it. But I really appreciated the fact that somebody was looking out for me. I sought help for the first time when I started having panic attacks. I remember I was at work this particular day in 2017, and I collapsed at work. It was on a Sunday, and my co-workers were really frightened. You do not want to combine being depressed and over drinking. You're going to wind up in a very, very bad place. So I was drinking a lot, and it became very uncomfortable to the point where I decided I have to seek help. I met this therapist at a medical camp, which actually I'm really grateful that there was a medical camp where I work, and I met the therapist there, and I took her number and I told her, I think I'm gonna come. We have a mental health crisis in the world, and a lot of people are not paying attention, that people are killing themselves, and there is something we can do. Even something as smiling to your co-worker who seems depressed, who seems like they're isolating themselves, like smiling at them and telling them, yo, you look nice today. That could spark them. You could tell somebody, hey, I like your shirt. Like, yo, that's a nice shirt. You look good today. You look bright. And the next day, and they will go home, on top of everything that they are going through, they will look forward to looking nice the next day and hoping somebody would recognize and see them.